Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to do my June reading wrap up. So I have my tea and I have my books all stacked up here, and I'm excited to share with you everything that I read in the month of June. So if you decided to participate in my hashtag Jen's Reading Challenge for the month of June, I hope that you enjoyed my book selections. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Perfume from Provence. This is by Lady Winifred Fortescue, and this was really a great story. This is a non-fiction book, so it's basically her memoirs of I think it's the early 1930s. There was like a stock market crash. She lived in England with her husband, and they decided to move into a house in Provence that needed a lot of work, and they were renovating it. And this kind of brings you through the entire renovation, her relationship with all of the locals, the people who worked in her home, the people that she met in the town. It really was such a great story, and I enjoyed that it was a real life account of things that were going on back then, and stories from her relationships with all of the people that she met at her time in Provence. So Lady Winifred Fortescue was actually married to Sir John Fortescue, who was the King's archivist and a British Army historian, and he wrote lots of books, and he was also the King's librarian. And Lady Fortescue just kind of talks about how simple life in Provence is, and how important the neighbors are to each other, and how they kind of count on each other for things, and they really are like family, and they become so to her as well. And they do really sweet things, like they hang baskets on their doors, and when a neighbor has, say, extra flowers or chocolates, or they made more pastries than they needed, or whatever it is, they would share with their neighbors, and they would fill their baskets with treats and things like that. So I just thought that was something really sweet and unique to do in a close-knit neighborhood like that. And she really did have some great bonds with the locals, and she told some really interesting, they're simple and fun stories of just kind of everyday life occurrences, and the people that she came across, and things that she did for them, and things that they did for her as well. I'll give one example. She was at the post office and realizing how hard these women work, and how many hours they put in, and all the things that they do. And when she had some business transactions going on, and she was kind of utilizing the post office a lot, she thanked them by sending them flowers and chocolates to thank them for being so helpful. And they were so very appreciative of that. And one of the women, I believe, even had said to her, in all of the years that she's been working, nobody has ever done something so kind for them. So just doing small things like that really made a big difference in a small town. And this story was just really beautiful, simple, very atmospheric. It was entertaining, and it gave great insights to another time and place long ago, but firsthand accounts. So I really did love it. And I'm just going to read you one like paragraph from the book that I really liked, and just to kind of show you how detailed she is in kind of painting a beautiful picture of where exactly it was that she was at the time. So in this moment, she is in a car with her husband, and she says, "We found our little domain dreaming under the stars. Thousands of fireflies were flitting among the flowers, lighting each blossom into color as they passed. Down amid the olive groves, they flickered in green gloom like tiny electric sparks. Glowworms burned little green lights from the old gray walls, and the air throbbed with the song of the nightingales." It was just really beautifully written, and I do believe she may have at least one other book, so I'm probably going to look into trying that one out sometime soon. And also, there is a Perfume from Provence website. I think it's perfumefromprovence.com. I'll leave a description of what it is below, because I can't remember off the top of my head, but it has pictures of the actual characters, the real life people in the book. So that was really interesting to see actual pictures of their their domain in Provence, as well as the people that she discusses in this book. So really, really highly recommend. This was a great read. So the next book that I want to talk about is Anne of Green Gables, and I know a lot of you guys participated in the reading challenge and chose this book. Many of you have already read it. It is a childhood story that I never had the opportunity to read as a child, so I was really excited to pick this book up. It was just so enchanting. It was a great escape. This is by Lucy Maud Montgomery, and I really, really enjoyed this. If you're not familiar at all with the story, it is about a girl, and her name is Anne, and she is adopted by Marilla and Matthew of Green Gables. Unexpectedly, they are looking to adopt a boy, and somehow they end up with this red-headed girl that is 11 years old, and they were rather disappointed because they were basically hiring a boy to come and help them with the farm because they're getting older and having a hard time managing it, and then they end up with this girl and they're not quite sure what to do with her, and obviously they end up keeping her. And I really, really enjoyed Anne's great imagination and zest for life, and she grows up in this book from age 11 to age 16, which is very relevant to me right now, being that I have a 16-year-old daughter. So I was really able to connect with the character of Anne, having a daughter who has recently gone through all of those teenage years and going through puberty, and Anne is very emotional, and she is so enthusiastic and excited about life, but at the same time she's so incredibly disappointed when things don't quite go the way that she wants. And there's a lot of, you know, crying and drama and emotion and things that I am all too familiar with going through the teenage years. So I thought that was really, really true to life. Her character was so real to me, and I really, really did like her. This was a book that I had a hard time putting down. I really felt involved in the story itself. I really felt close with the characters, especially Anne, and she really gave me a great outlook on life. Just how excited she was about even the smallest thing made me realize how precious life really is, and sometimes we take the simple stuff for granted. And I'm just going to read you a couple of her lines from the book that I really enjoyed and I highlighted and I wanted to share with you. "Do you know," said Anne confidently, "I've made up my mind to enjoy this drive. It's been my experience that you can nearly always enjoy things if you make up your mind firmly that you will. Of course, you must make it up firmly." And then this is just how like distracted she is by the small things in life. So as they're driving, she says, "Oh, look, there's one early wild rose out. Isn't it lovely? Don't you think it must be glad to be a rose? Wouldn't it be nice if roses could talk? I'm sure they could tell us such lovely things. And isn't pink the most bewitching color in the world? I love it, but I can't wear it. Red-headed people can't wear pink, not even in imagination." And she also has this issue with having red hair. Like, that's the one thing that she really, really hates about herself is her red hair. And she's rather self-conscious of it throughout her life. And it's hysterical because it's just one of those things that always come up throughout her growing years into her teenage years, how much her red hair bothers her. And being that it brings us right to the point where she would be going away to school and my daughter's going away to school next summer, we're only a year away, and seeing how Marilla is dealing with the idea of Anne leaving, and I'm having currently those same feelings. Like, I cried through her thoughts because I was right there with her, and I also have those emotions right now. So this was just really a great book for me to read. It was so, so relevant to my life currently, and I think it's great for any child to read or adult. And one more quote from the book that I want to read because I just think it's really, really a great one. "Oh, it's delightful to have ambitions. I'm so glad I have such a lot. And there never seems to be any end to them. That's the best of it. Just as soon as you attain to one ambition, you see another one glittering higher up still. It does make life so interesting." I just really think she says the best things. She has been a great inspiration to me. The next book, which I really, really thoroughly enjoyed this book, and I know a couple of you had purchased this and were reading right along with me, and this is The Rose Garden by Susanna Kersley. I love her writing, and I cannot wait to try some more of her books because this book was just so amazing. It had time travel, which I love. It had romance. It had historical fiction, it had action and adventure, and just all the stuff that really, really draws me to a book, this book had. So I thought it was really amazing. The main character is Eva, and her sister Katrina passes away at a rather young age, and they were close sisters, and her sister wanted her to spread her ashes somewhere where Eva thought would be most fitting. So Eva chooses to bring her ashes to a place where her family used to vacation when they were children, called Trelleworth House in Cornwall, England. And she meets up with her old friends, the Hallets, who actually own the property, and decides to spend the summer there and spread the ashes and just take a break from life and spend her entire summer at their vacation home that they went to as children. And basically this house has some kind of crazy stuff going on, and she is able to travel back in time, but she is in the same house. When she travels back in time, it's like in the same location, whether it's outdoors or indoors, the same type of location, but she goes back into the 1700s and she meets this man, and he just lost his wife, so they're both kind of dealing with a grieving and mourning process, and they get to know each other, and there's lots of other characters involved and a lot of other really interesting things going on that I don't want to share too much because I don't want to give away the whole story. But she's going back and forth from current day and then back into the 1700s, and it just, it really develops into this amazing and unique story that I absolutely loved. If you've never read this book, I would really, really recommend it, especially if you like the time travel kind of a thing, which is my favorite. I really like that a lot. And she does it so well. She really, really brings you into the story. It was another one that I had a really hard time putting down. I think I read it in a matter of days, and I was sad when it was over. If there was like a part 2 to this book, I definitely would get it, because I'm still wondering what happened to the characters after the story ended. So it's really, really a great book, and I'm so glad that I took the time to read it. So those were all of the books in my June reading challenge that I was challenging myself to read, but I ended up reading 4 more books in addition to that. And 2 of them I'm not even going to discuss, only because they are about local history and things that happened in my specific town, and I don't want to share that because then I'm basically telling you exactly where I live. But they were 2 good-sized books. I think they were each about 300 or more pages long, and I read both of those books. And then my daughter Madison picked me up this book called Stolen Girl. This is by Marcia Forchunk-Scripouche. And this was really actually a great story. She bought it from me at the book fair that they were having at her school, and the story is about a young girl named Nadia, and she's having flashbacks about things that happened to her when she was younger. So she is with a man and a woman, and they are her caregivers, but they're not her parents, but she pretends like they are her parents. And this is during World War II, and Nadia is constantly having flashbacks of the war and rallies and starvation and this German family, but yet she's having flashbacks about another family, and it's like her grandmother and her sister, and she's not sure which family she actually belongs to or who her real parents are, because she was in a way brainwashed. And she's currently at a displaced persons camp with these 2 other people, and the book begins with Nadia being brought by this woman who is acting as her mother to Canada, and then they have a new home that they're working on, and she's going to a new school, and there's just all of these different things going on. So she's trying to get settled into this new town and this new school with a couple that's not her parents, but she doesn't know who her true parents are, but they're very kind to her and they take care of her, and they have her because of things that were going on during the war and just trying to escape from certain things and stuff like that. And it's based on a true story, which made it even all that more interesting, and it gave me an insight to things that happened during World War II that I was unaware of, and it really, really does give you a good insight of what it is like to be a child, seeing all of these horrible things that were going on during the Holocaust. So I really think this is a great read. I know it's meant for like middle school. It's like a middle grade book, but I really enjoyed it, and I think that even an adult would really enjoy this story and probably learn quite a bit from it. And then finally, the last book that I read was another nonfiction book, and this is Cape May Through Time. This is by Dr. Joseph Salvatore and Joan Berkey, and I just picked this up on our recent trip to Cape May. It is full of really, really beautiful old pictures, and what I enjoyed most about it was it shows Cape May then and now. So like it'll show a picture from a long time ago and then a current picture of what it looks like now, as well as a description, and if the location is no longer there, just kind of like what happened to it, why it's no longer there. Here is like the boardwalk then and then the boardwalk now. And for someone who travels to the Jersey Shore all the time and goes to Cape May every year, this was really an interesting book to me, and it was filled with lots of fun facts about Cape May and lots of great photographs. So if it's an area that you're ever thinking of vacationing to, I highly recommend this book because it does give you a nice insight to the history of the town and the great fires that have happened there and flooding that has happened and all of the things that this town managed to survive over time and still is thriving as a great vacation destination. So I really thought this was a great book as well. So that is everything that I read in the month of June. I hope that you guys enjoyed hearing my little brief review of all of the books, and let me know in the comments below if you're going to be participating with me on my July reading challenge. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll leave a card up above so you can go check that out. I do have a few books that I plan on reading in the month of July, and I'm really excited, and I hope that some of you guys will participate in that as well. If you are, there is another giveaway going on, so if you go check out that video, the details will be there as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all off to a great July. I would love to have you subscribe if you haven't done so already, and don't forget to hit the bell notification, and please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I will see you real soon. Take care. Bye.